Good day. My name is Sandra Muteiwana. In this video, I will reflect on my grade 2 reading comprehension lesson and explain how the lesson objectives based on Bloom's taxonomy were achieved through the 3 lesson phases. The topic of my lesson was reading comprehension for grade 2. I formulated 3 lesson objectives using Bloom's taxonomy. The first objective was at the remembering and understanding level. Learners were expected to identify the main characters, the setting, and the key events in a short story after listening to and reading it. This objective focused on helping learners recall and understand important information from the text. The second objective was at the applying level. Learners were required to answer comprehension questions based on the story. They applied what they had learned by responding to literal and simple inferential questions, showing that they understood the text. The third objective was at the creating and evaluating level. Learners retold the story in their own words and expressed their opinion about their favorite character, giving a reason for their choice. This encouraged learners to organize information, communicate their understanding, and justify their ideas. The lesson was then divided into 3 phases. The first phase was the introduction. The purpose for this phase was to capture learners' interest, activate their prior knowledge, and prepare them for learning. I used a smart board and a projector to display pictures and played a short digital story and reading aloud video. Learners observed the pictures, made predictions about the story, and shared their ideas. This activity prepared them to identify the characters, setting, and events in the story. The second phase was the development phase. The purpose for this phase was to teach the new content and provide learners with opportunities to practice new skills. I used an interactive PowerPoint presentation and a digital storybook to present the story. Learners listened carefully, followed the text and pictures, and answered comprehension questions. I also used an interactive quiz such as word wall to assess their understanding and keep them actively involved in the lesson. This helped learners achieve the second lesson objective. The final phase was the consolidation phase. This purpose of this phase was to reinforce learning, assess learners' understanding, allow them to apply what they learned independently. Learners completed a sequencing activity and recorded themselves retelling the story using a tablet and a voice recording application, which was my phone. They also explained why a particular character was their favorite. This activity helped learners achieve the third lesson objective by encouraging higher order thinking and communication skills. I differentiated the lesson to accommodate learners with different learning abilities. Learners who needed additional support received visual aids, teacher guidance, and peer support. More advanced learners were encouraged to answer more challenging questions and provide detailed explanations. The use of ICT also allowed learners to learn in an engaging and interactive way while catering for different learning styles. Reflecting on the lesson, I believe the use of ICT increased learner participation and motivation. The digital story, interactive presentation, and online quiz kept learners engaged throughout the lesson. Most learners achieved the lesson objectives by identifying story elements, answering comprehension questions, and confidently retelling the story. One challenge was that some learners needed more time to complete the digital activities, and technology may sometimes fail. In future, I will ensure that all equipment is tested before the lesson and prepare printed resources as a backup. Overall, I believe the lesson was successful because the objectives were achieved, learners actively participated, and the activities promoted both literal skills and digital learning in an enjoyable and meaningful way. Thank you very much.